Ohayou gozaimasu. Krista desu. We are going to be going over lessons 11 and 12 today. So first we're going to be looking at the Urikai textbook, going over the Katsudo textbook and seeing if there's anything in there that we missed. And then we'll be looking at the grammar notes in Canvas and under class notes, those grammar notes as well. So in each topic, there's going to be for each 2 lessons. So we're doing 11 and 12 today. So we're looking at those. I think there's only 5 or 6 of them total for both chapters. And we're going to be looking at the grammar notes for chapter 11 and 12. So let's get started with that. Okay, so first with the Rikai textbook, so the orange one on page 104. So that's 104 page, I believe. And on this very first page of the chapter, we're going to be looking at the vocab that's right here. And and the vocab that's all in these boxes down here. So the first one, A, at the top-ish, so like the middle-ish section, it says Hanami, which means a flower festival, Barbecue, which means a barbecue, Karaoke, which is karaoke, Picnic, which is a picnic, and then at the very top here, I'm not sure if this is in the rest of the chapter, but right here, if you can see that, and it's the second line in the middle of the sentence, it says 준비 ni tsuite, which means to prepare for something. Okay, and then at the bottom of the page, we're going to be going over these boxes down here on page 104. First one, it says sushi, so that's sushi, sandoichi, which is sandwich, onigiri, which is a rice ball, I think in English, sarada, which is a salad, keiki, which is cake, chocoreto, which is chocolate, potato chips is potato chips, so just regular chips, banana, ringo, which is apple, ichigo, which is strawberry. And then in the next box over on the right says ocha, which is tea. Typically it's translated as Japanese tea. Juice, which is juice. Biru, which is beer. Wine, which is wine. Nihonju, which is sake. So it's like a alcoholic. So it's like Japanese alcohol. So typically that's like, oh, that's sake. Soup, which is soup. And then in the bottom, in this small little section down here, it says okashi, which is like sweets or snacks. Osake, which is sake. Kudamono, which is fruit. Tabemono, which is just general food. And nomimono, which is general drinks. And then moving on to the next page, 105, right underneath the picture, we're going to be looking right here. Okay, it says, so this is like what you would use to eat things, so like forks, knives, plates, etc. So the first one is hashi, which is chopsticks. B is kopu, which is cup. C, which is naifu, which is knife. D is spoon, which is spoon. Sara, which is plate. Hoku, which is fork. And then we're going to be looking at the kanji near the bottom, right down here on the same page. So tabemono, which is food, nomimono, which is drink, and then the last kanji that's in those two words, mono, which can be translated to like a thing. So a food thing, a drink thing kind of translates into English as drinks or food. Okay, and then the next one is ocha, which is tea. Osake, which is alcohol or sake. Tsukurimasu, which means to make. Mottekimasu means to take, to bring, or to bring something. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to bring cake, you would say, keiki o mottekimasu. Keiki o mottekimasu. Okay, and then the last kanji is onegai shimasu. So onegai shimasu, which means please. Okay, and we're going to flip the page and see if there's any new vocab here that wasn't on the last page. I don't see any on this page. And I do see one at the bottom of the page on 106, where it's right here. You can see that right there. It's on the D line near the very bottom. It says jibun, which means myself or like oneself, like an individual. And I think on the next page, the second line says right here, if you can see that, it says pan, which means bread. And then at the very last line of for the first person that's speaking, right here, it says onaka ga sukimashita, which means like, oh, my, like onaka is your stomach, and sukimashita means like you are hungry. Okay, and I believe that's the only word that's you can't kind of figure out with context that's on these two pages. So we'll go to the first concept for this chapter, which is on page 106. So 106ページ in the center right here next to this lovely picture. So it's going to be right here. It's this whole thing. Okay, so it says V, so verb, te ikimasu, or verb te kimasu. So this has to do with kind of like a something. So you're buying something, you're taking something, you're making something. So I, the verb in te form, and plus the ikimasu or the kimasu means that you are going to have an action about something. So the ikimasu slash kimasu in this context means something. So the examples that they have are motte kimasu, which means to take something, and then mot kimasu. Yeah, mot kimasu, which sounds kind of weird to me, which means to bring something. And then the next one, it says kaimasu, which means to buy. Turns it into te form, which is kate, and you're gonna add the ikimasu to that. So it's kate ikimasu. So you're going to buy something. And then the last one example, it says sukurimasu, which means to make something. So you're going to put that in te form, which is sukutte. You're going to add ikimasu to say that you are making something. So that's sukutte ikimasu. Okay, and then let's go over to the first example that we have. Okay, so remember this is under modules. In each topic, it has the ones for each two lessons. So we're going to be doing lesson 11s right now. So verb in te form, add ikimasu or kimasu to it. So used when talking about the preparation you will do / have done for a picnic or other event. Okay, and this is just the form again, the structure. So picnic ni onigiri o motte kimasu. So you're going to bring, so for the picnic, you're going to bring, so you're going to bring something and you're indicating what specifically you're bringing. Okay, and then the second example is watashi wa sandwichi o tsuku, tsu, sorry, tsukutte ikimasu. Tsukutte ikimasu. So this means that you are going to bring something. You specifically are going to bring something, and that something is a sandwich. Or sorry, you're gonna make something. So remember tsukutte, which is to make. So tsukimasu. Sorry, tsukurimasu turns into tsukutte, and you'd add ikimasu to it to say that you're going to make something, and you're indicating that something is a sandwich. So this indicates that I will make a sandwich and then I will bring that sandwich. So it indicates that you will bring something or take something along with specifically what you are bringing or taking. Okay, and then the last example is keiki o katte, which means to buy. So kaimasu turns into katte. You add kimashita. So you did something because it's past tense. Minna de tabemashou. So you bought, because it's past tense, you bought a cake. So that's something because it's in katte kimashita. So katte kimasu, you just putting it in past tense. You're saying you bought something and you're going to bring that something. And minna is everyone. Minna de, so by the means of everyone, you are going to eat. So let's eat it together, everyone. So the meaning of this first line is I bought a cake, and then I brought that cake. And then this last line is let's eat it together. Hope that kind of explains that. And let's go back to the textbook, the Rikai textbook, orange one. Okay, we're gonna skip page 107 because there's nothing on there that's super new, I think. And then move to 108. So 108 page. At the very top right here in this purple box is the next concept. It says nan, which is like what, like nani, but another way you could say it is nan, then slash itsu, which is when, doko, which is where, ikutsu, which is like how many, um, mm, yeah, it's like how many of something, itsu demo blank. So this pattern indicates that there is no limit to things, time, location, numbers, and so on. Okay, so let's look at the examples that Sensei has because there's no concrete examples that I see in here with, yeah, specifically that's super easy to look at. So let's look at Sensei's examples. Okay, so here's some situations that you could use this in. So pikuniku no hi, which is day, wa, itsu ga ii desu ka? So for the day of the picnic, when is a good day? Or so like basically what day is good to have a picnic? So itsu, which is when, and then someone would reply with the structure that we're using right now, which is itsu demo. So demo, either way, ii desu. So any day is okay. Okay, and then the second example is onigiri o ikutsu motte ikimasu ka? So how many rice balls shall we bring? So remember, itsu or ikutsu, it has to do with counting something, like how a number of something. And you would use this structure in replying. So remember, the first word plus demo, and typically it ends with idis. So you would use either what, when, where, how many, doesn't matter, idis. Okay, and back to number 2, it says ikutsu demo ii desu, so any amount is okay. So you can bring as many rice balls as you want. Okay, and then number 3 is kudamono wa nan demo suki desu ka? Or nan demo suki desu. So fruits is kudamono, nan or nani is what, suki desu is to like something. So you like fruits, so you like, this last one, you like fruits. You said what, but you're not asking like, oh, what do you want? Because there's no ka at the end. So you're like just saying, oh, I like any kind of fruit, because you're saying nan demo, which is like whatever. So remember, this is what, and this is like kind of like, oh, whatever is fine. So remember, ikutsu demo ii desu ka is like, oh, any amount is okay. Okay, and Then she has a note. This sentence pattern indicates that there is no limitation for things, people, time, locations, and numbers, and so on. Okay. So I hope that kind of explains that concept, which I know I'm a bit still confused on, but if you need me to elaborate any further, or if you want Sensei to elaborate any further, just let us know. Okay, and then moving back to the Rikai textbook on page 109, so 109ページ, at the very top here is what we're going to be looking at. It says noun 1 to noun 2. You could add to and then you could keep adding nouns basically. どちらがいいですか? And you would say noun 1がいいです. So どちら is like which. So you're asking about typically a binary option because どちら is like which of the two typically. So asking about a binary option, which is also used in spoken Japanese. Cool. It explains it pretty weird in the textbook. So basically you would say noun 1 to noun 2 どちらがいいですか? So example, sandwich, so sandwich とケーキどちらがいいですか? So which is good because いいです is like, oh, that's good. So which is good? And then you would say, oh, this one is good. So if you want to say noun 2 is good, you would say ケーキがいいです. Okay, I don't know if there's any examples that Sensei has. Let me double check really quick. Okay, so I know this is probably pretty confusing looking down here. So it's basically the same thing that's in the textbook. This is what's in the purple box. And then down here, it gets a little bit confusing. But you would say a noun 1 plus, or noun 1 and noun 2 and noun 3, noun 4, noun 5, etc., etc. You could have as many options as you want. The formal way to say it is dochira, and the casual way is dochi, so which. And this one's like, oh, whichever. It's just a little bit more fancy, if you will. And then you would say ga ii desu ka? And you would say, oh, this noun, whichever one, two, three, four, five, whichever one you pick, noun, whatever, ga ii desu. So this noun is good. So here's some examples. ピクニックは土曜日と日曜日とどちらがいいですか? Okay, so you're saying for the picnic, which day is better? So is it 土曜日, which is Saturday, or 日曜日, which is Sunday? So which of these 2 days is good for the picnic? And then someone would reply, 土曜日がいいです. So Saturday is the better day, basically. Okay, and then number 2, it says ワインは赤と白どっちがいいですか? So which wine is better or is good? The red one or the white one? Okay, and then someone would reply, 私はどっちでもいいですか? Or どっちでもいい, sorry. So I am good with whichever. Because remember, demo is like, oh, either is fine or anything is fine, kind of. And dochi is which. So whichever is good. So either one is fine for me, is how Sensei translates it. Okay, and looking back in the Rikai textbook, I believe that is the last concept. And there's not really any, what's the word? Vocab words that are in here. Looking at page 110 in the Rikai textbook, right here, the last word that's in the first sentence, it says ren raku shimasu, which means to make something. So you like renshu is like to practice, and uh, tsukurimasu is like how you make something. So you're practicing how to learn, or you're practicing how to make something, kind of, is how I've translated it. If that's wrong, since I can correct me. Uh, and then number 2 on the second line right here, if you can see that, it says henji, which means reply. So like this is like a text thing, this little box. It's like, oh, please reply to me. So henji means to reply. Okay, and that's the last in the Nikai textbook. So let's look at the Katsudo textbook really quick, see if there's anything I missed that's in there. So the white one, Katsudo, on page 91 at the bottom right here in this purple, in the orange circle, it says other things. So it says hoka no mono. So that translates to other things, and it's just talking about the like silverware, the plates, things that you would eat and drink on or with or something like that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I didn't see in the Rikai textbook that is in the Katsudo textbook. Um, yes, I do believe that is so. So we'll be looking at the grammar notes real quick for the entire lesson 11. So, nani o motte ikimasu ka? So, what will you do or bring? Donna plus noun o motte kimasu ka? Donna is, I believe, like who or like what kind. Yeah, what kind, as like a type of something. What kind of blank will you do or bring? And then someone will reply, blank o motte kimasu. So I will bring blank. Or you can say blank ni shimasu. So I will decide on blank. And remember, this is putting the mas form into te form and adding ikimasu. So remember, mottekimasu, kattekimasu, tsuku, tsukutte ikimasu. That one's a bit hard for me to pronounce sometimes. Okay, and this is the which option do you prefer? So noun to be noun to とどちらがいいですか? So do you prefer A or B? And you would say blank がいいです. So I prefer whatever option you select. Okay, 何でも means anything or whatever. どちらでも also can also be translated as anything or whichever. And a casual way to say どちらでも is another, a casual way to say it is どっちでも. So どちらでも or どっちでも. Itsudemo is whenever or anytime. Dokodemo is anywhere or wherever. Ikutsudemo is as many as you want. And dare demo is anyone or whoever. Okay, and then there's nothing on the second page. So that is the end of lesson 11. So I'll finish the video right here. Hopefully it's not super long. And I'll get started with lesson 12 in the second video.